Day 3 at Eurobike. We've got loads of tech in this video. We've got really cool stuff from freeride motocross legends, and we've also got another camera brand entering the mountain bike market. It is really exciting. We're here with Simon from Reset Bikes, a small builder from Germany in the handmade section here at Eurobike, and he's got an incredible bike here that is unlike any adaptive bike that I've seen so far in terms of, well, the awesome suspension design and how it actually leans into corners. But something more important about mountain biking that Simon said a little bit earlier, which hopefully he can just do in a one-liner just now.
Hi first.
Hi, of course, sorry.
Yeah, the thing is, if you're a mountain biker, you're a stick to the hobby and you never stop it. This is the main thing about mountain biking, also in adaptive.
This is perfect. Mountain biking is amazing. And if you've started off being a mountain biker, you should always stay a mountain biker. And you also said something earlier which I think is really fantastic. And for me, I'm not that sporty. I'm not going to win a race ever. But for me, it is all about community. And you touched on that earlier, that it is about community. So, yeah, thank you very much. We're going to show you lots of pictures of your bike. And, yeah, Reset Bikes, that's what we need to look at. Perfect. As you may know by now, I am a nerd. So the extra excitement of the $100,000 gated purse, which Gates have put up for a downhill World Cup win, has got me really excited because there's been so much innovation. And some of that innovation can be seen here. We've covered the Aeon Racing Gamex bike before. We've done loads of bike checks and we've done lots of details. But this bike is new. Looks like we've got a 4-bar linkage, not 7-bar for the commenters on the last video. Alas, that's still mythical. But yeah, more complicated setup, potentially even better ground tracking suspension, and with this Gates belt drive. Will it win the gated purse? Only time will tell. So what are your thoughts on MGUs? Okay, and do you think Aeon Racing or do you think Intense are going to win the big gated belted purse from Gates? No comment there. Interesting. We saw one of these in Temecula, which is where Intense are made. This is one of the prototype downhill bikes that has got the smart shift system from Pinion. So we've got a gearbox, then we've got a belt drive. The belt drive's from Gates, so it's in the winning for that belted purse. Could this win? This is Joe Breeden's bike. Lots of wonderful specs and details on here. Not just the wonderful prototype frame that's made by Jeff Stieber himself. I mean, what else can we look at? Well, the forks and rear shocker EXT, another really storied suspension brand. And there's loads of other little details. We've got the one-up bars, and then we've got these wonderful little extras on the side. A specific thing for Joe. Will this win? I hope so. Joe's an awesome guy. It's not just prototype downhill bikes here on the Pinion stand. No, there's loads more too. Because Pinion are doing an MGU, which is a motor gearbox unit. And I know what you're already thinking. You've got a channel for that, dedicated. And we do, just here. This is Neil, formerly of GMBN, now of EMBN. MGUs. Can you tell us a bit about them?
Well, there's lots of bikes featuring them and lots of DJI motors. If you're into e-bikes, check out EMBN, of course. We've got daily tech videos, but I'm looking at downhill bikes as well, Owen, since I'm here, but very nice. Good tech.
Loads of good tech. Here we are. It's a stunning bike. This is Orbea Terra. It's also new, but for us, what's really exciting is this GRX group set. Okay, the rest of the group set you might have seen before, but this rear mech down here, well, for lots of you viewers out there, it will look quite familiar because it does share a resemblance to the new XT, the new XTR, and the new Dior wireless drivetrain from Shimano. And that's what we've got. We've got wireless rear mech. It's really nice. Fits in with all the other GRX components. That means you can run a 1051 rear cassette. Great stuff. Here is a stunning bike. This is a Stablead prototype. And we've got carbon tubes, and we've got titanium lugs, and we've got incredible bonding. And this is a new bike from Stablead, but this is just a prototype and a showcase for lots of other parts, including these amazing inverted forks. So it's a carbon one-piece crown and steerer. That is super impressive. And we know about composites, we know about how they're going to be adjustable in terms of how stiff they are and the orientation of their stiffness. Now, Stablead is a new company. They're doing stems, they're doing lots of other parts as well. And you might think, well, where are they from? Well, they're from a business called Deuter, who make a lot of camera equipment for, well, Hollywood. And you might think, well, Hollywood doesn't know about suspension. And you're right, to a degree. But in the industry, they're using lots of booms. They're using these huge swinging arms that have to have suspension to have stable shots as they arc through the set. And that's where these guys have already got their hands on suspension technology because they've had to develop it for these cameras. So inside here, we've got a shock and, as we mentioned, the fork. It's going to be really interesting to see how this company develops. This is the new Orbea Muga. It is, well, an urban SUV, but it feels a lot like Orbea have let the downhill enduro designers and development team go wild and create a really rad urban off-roader. What am I talking about? Well, we're talking about a suspension bike that's an e-bike. We've got fenders, they can be removed. On this one, we've got a belt drive, we've got a CVT rear hub as well. In terms of travel and geometry, we've got, I think, 110 at the back, 120 up front, and the geometry is pretty slack as well. We've got a 66-degree head angle, so I think this bike will be an absolute hoon around town. We're on the EVOC booth, and they've got not one, but two new bike bags. They're really interesting. Okay, we'll do this one quickly, because I know some of you are a bit scared of drop bars. Don't be, they're really fun. We've got a new drop bar bike bag. So it's got a hard shell up top. We've got these struts on the side which help support, and you might notice other EVOC bags have got wheel bags on the side, whereas this one doesn't. So you might be thinking, where are the wheels on? Well, never fear. EVOC have thought of that because the wheel bags are inside, so they provide some of the structure. So bars don't have to be taken off in the drop bar flavour. You've got these anti-crush supports which are adjustable and Velcro in place. You've also got the cross brace here, and then, yeah, lots of storage. The bottom of it is hard shell, and I think the really exciting feature is all of this stuff at the back here. So effectively, we've got a rail that sits on the bike front and back, and it means, well, that keeps the bike rigid. It keeps it off the bottom of the bag, and it should keep it, well, in a really good shape. Okay, that's the drop bar, and I know you're thinking, we're mountain bikers. Is there other options? And yes, there is, because they've got a new bike for mountain bikers too, and this one is award-winning. A new bag, the old bag, just an example just here. I've used it a lot at GMBN. I've used it in the workshop as well, where I've packed bikes. This new iteration is something that I wish I'd had when I was in the workshop, packing people's bikes. To be fair, Rich Payne is always very good at packing his bike. Cheers, Rich. This one is good because, well, they've looked at everything on this bag and gone, okay, what happens if you've got integrated bars? What happens if you've got a different bike setup where you can't remove the handlebars? You don't have to with this setup. So again, wheels are on the outside. We've got lots of braces on the inside here to stiffen it and strengthen it. And there you are. Because they've redesigned the back end of this, and actually the bike is the other way around from this bag, so we're kind of wheels at the back and fork end, it means you can just turn your bars. Really clever setup. Again, it's got this same really good support here, so the bike is lifted off the bottom of the tray and off the bottom of the tray at front. Really impressive. Hence why it's award-winning. Winging. A bike that we've seen at the racetracks in cross-country racing is this Origine. This one is quite different though, because it is equipped with not only colour-matched forks, so this wonderful sort of mustardy colour frame, but we've also got Suntour's, SR Suntour's, electronic suspension system. So we've got, yeah, on and off magic suspension. I'm looking for controllers. I can't see any, but it's a beautiful, clean-looking XC bike. Nice to see. We're here on the Continental booth, and we talked about it in the tech show, and now they're released. And that's right. These new trail tyres and downhill tyres are available in lots of good sizes. 20-inch, 24 and 26. So yes, there might be lots of noise and lots of hype about newer wheel standards, and you might think, is 26 dead? Conti thinks no, 26 isn't dead. They've got a really good range, available pretty much everywhere already. We're still at Eurobike, but we've escaped. We're actually outside in the sunlight, and we're at the wonderful Deuter stand, and they've got lots and lots of really good bikepacking gear and backpacks, which is probably what they're most commonly known for because they make them for proper hikers and actual outdoors people. And they've got quite a few new packs, so we're going to speed through them. The first one is called the Highline, and it's this little number here. It's very nice. Okay, we've got some interesting colours, very minimal design. I think Deuter Rams would be very, very pleased. But special feature on the back here is this wonderful 3D printed padding. It's made by Carbon, who make lots of 3D printed machines, and it means that, well, it can stand away from your back, offer lots of support. This one's also got a back protector inside, and you've got 14 litres of quite organised storage. The nice details as well are these very hidden helmet stands. So no big weird straps on the back of the bag, just little bungees. Nice details. This is the Rogler 5. It's very small, it's very minimal, so you can put a 2-litre bladder in there, and then you've got loads of storage up front here, nice clips. There's quite innovative side strap here, which means that you can really lock the pack down. It's really good for bike packing or even, dare I say, gravel again. Really minimal, really lightweight, and again, it's got some nice features where, yeah, if you need to bungee down a shell layer or something like that, got hidden straps in here, so nice and minimal. Not out there getting cruddy and muddy when you don't need them, but there when you do. Now we're switching gears. We've got a different pack again. This is the Attack, which has been in the lineup for, well, 20 years. Lots of tech in it, and it's a big mountain pack. So we've got all the things that you might need. Lots of storage cubby holes and lots of space to put bladders and things like that. And also lots of convenient storage as well. And the other thing is a back protector, which, if you're riding bike parks, you're riding big terrain, makes lots of sense. This is a little Quin pod, and it's got lots of technology inside it. There's accelerometers, there's temperature sensors, and that in itself is not wildly technologically advanced. But the app and how Quin have been able to develop this technology into something that could, well, save your life and make sure that you don't have the lingering old issues of delayed concussion or nasty things that can happen with your brain when you hit the ground. It's really clever tech, and it's incorporated into lots of helmets, and it's size specific and helmet specific. It's the level of detail, so they can tell with this pod, when it's inside your helmet, they can tell whether it's been dropped or whether you've been dropped wearing your helmet. And there's loads and loads and loads of other data that goes into it. It is a really high performance little thing, and I feel like in the future we're going to see a lot more of it because it's going to improve safety by a huge margin. Why, you might be wondering? Well, through the app it can connect to, well, emergency services. It's not going to dial them up. No, it can go straight to your local emergency service and give you all the data of what might or might not have happened to you. It can also reach out to you via your phone to, well, your 3 emergency contacts and let you know if you're okay. It is very, very clever. But there's other stuff too, because they've got this other tag system, which isn't as in-depth and doesn't have as many sensors, but it should offer lots of crash protection for, well, other helmets. I think this technology is going to go and grow very, very quickly, so watch this space. We're here on the HT booth, and we've got the pedal that we saw Nino race, and Bjorn Riley. Hi, Bjorn. Yeah, very nice M2. Lots of different colour options. I've not seen this sort of root beer before. Real nice. And here is the HT X3, which, well, we've seen for a while. I thought this was a prototype here with this little sort of lifted shoulder here, but it just aids clipping in. Quite a few people are riding it, including the Continental team, who are doing pretty well this year. We're on the Pirelli stand, and they've got some new cross-country tyres, and they've also got one of Evie Richards' race bikes, which is interesting because it is subtly different to the bike that we did a bike check on only a couple of weeks back. How is it different? Well, it's got a slightly different 3D printed saddle. It's got Trek branding on it, so it must be a Bontrager model. But the other thing that's really interesting on this is the rear triangle. The version that we saw had a concentric rear pivot around the rear axle. This one doesn't have that at all. So is this a prototype? We'll have to watch this space and find out. Here's the new tyre. The tread pattern is similar to the outgoing RC. There's some subtle tweaks, slightly bigger shoulders, and it is a full 2.4 size, which is nice to see. Other little details is it's made in Italy, and also got this little logo here for FSC, and that's because the materials that are being used in this, the rubber, is more sustainable. That's what Pirelli say, which is moving in the right direction, I think. We've seen stems, bars, and some other components from Cast, which is this rider-owned for riders sort of company, and they're doing a collab here with Pirelli for, well, a couple of different tyres. I'd not seen them before. Look at the numbers on the sidewall. I think we're still in the prototype or very final stages of tyre. This one is the antagonist, but there's also a protagonist as well. Interesting looking tyre, lots of big chunky knobs, lots of snipes. Interesting to see how it gets developed. On the Pirelli booth there's a lot of branding where there's lots of winning victorious men, but actually this tyre is winning with one of the XC legends of the modern era, Peaty. This is the mixed or mud terrain tyre. Interesting to see it in the rubber. We're on the Garmin booth and we've got the Garmin Edge MTB, which is their new mountain bike specific GPS. And if you want to know all the stats, well, that's good. Here on GMBN Tech, we've got a video that Ferg's done it already. Yeah, all the stats, all the facts, all the things you need to know. We're here on the Peaty's booth where they've got lots of wonderful lubes and sealants and rim tape and lots of really good stuff. But I think it's often overlooked, especially with us, is they do these awesome Fidlock bottles. This one is a humongous 750, but it's about the same length as a sort of 500 from lots of other brands. A big girthy bottle, very good for quenching that thirst. Big wheel next to me. No, I've not shrunk. This is a 32er, so more brands are doing more options of wheels. So are we going to see more bike brands commit to this newer wheel size? Be interesting. We're on the SQ Lab and they've got a new saddle. I mean, it's a new saddle, but it's a reworking. And there's lots of subtle differences. There's a shorter nose and it's got the kind of flex tail in the back, which helps with your back because it can move a tiny bit. And the other big thing is they've got a limited edition, all new colourway, the Mike Metzger colourway. It's ace. Really wild cover. We've got purple rails and base underneath. And they've got matching grips too in the similar green and purple. It is available in a tamer, well, sort of just black, but all the features are there. So shorter nose and, yeah, designed, I guess, around those steeper seat angles. And with this flexi pivot back at the back, just to help ease your back, allows a bit of natural movement. Clever stuff. We're on the SQ Lab stand, but I've got an Ion knee pad. You might be a bit confused, but don't be. They're friends now. They're working very closely together. And one of their first collabs is, well, this knee pad and the knee pad just behind me. And in terms of innovation, Iron have always been there. They're using some really clever materials, including this Re-Zero. So you can see it here in this rather trendy purple. And the material is very clever because it is a absorbent, non-Newtonian material, so it can absorb like a protective pad would do, like lots of others. But in the right conditions, it's biodegradable. So that's really good. And it will biodegrade apparently in 3 to 5 years. Again, in the right conditions, so don't worry, it's going to work and function fantastically. The other really clever innovation that they've got here is SQ Lab know all about how you and I fit onto our bikes. And because of that extra knowledge, well, they've helped redesign these knee pads. And it might not be in the way that you imagine. They've got a little fit chart, and it means that, well, you can find out what size you actually need based on the diameter of your leg, which kind of makes sense, but also they're going to do long and short versions. So it means that, well, if you've got proper chunk legs, but they're shorter in stature, well, you'll still be able to find the right fit. And likewise, or conversely, if you've got exceedingly long legs, but they're a bit like a sparrow's and quite skinny, well, again, you'll be able to find the right fit. Great stuff. We're on the Park Tool stand, and they've got a new, well, Park Tool bike stand. And this one is very good. If you've got an e-bike, or you're not Jeff Capes or like a bodybuilder, reference to an ancient bodybuilder from the UK there, quite niche, but people will get it, I'm sure. You might be struggling to lift that bike and get it into the stand. Park have thought of you. Why? Because they've got this new PRS 30 that does this. Yeah, it's great. There's a really strong screw thread in here, powered up here by either, electric drill, or there's a hand crank as well, which does take a little bit longer, and that means you can literally lift your e-bike up off the floor. It is really good. Really interesting stuff. New tool here. We missed it at Sea Otter, but it is the tyre bead breaker. And if you've got a really good tyre to tubeless rim interface, sometimes when you're deflating and that tyre's been on there a while, everything can sort of settle in and get really tight, and to pop that bead to, well, get the tyre off, it can be a bit of a mission. But Park have thought of that, and they've got this, well, wonderful linkage locking vice style grip, but with these soft jaws down here and a really big diameter, so it'll reach around the tyre. So you can wrap it around the tyre and then use that to help pop that bead off. Park Tool have had a disc truing tool for quite a while, but it's now a 2.2 version. And what does that mean? It means we've got an update. And the update is that we've got an extra width. So if you've got a wider disc. Some of the SRAM brakes are coming with a really fat rotor. Some of the Magura ones are coming with that as well. You can still use a really good tuning tool from Park. Very good. We're at WTB, Wilderness Trail Bikes, for the old schools out there. And they've got a new tyre. This is called the Peacekeeper, and it fits into that, well, that really nice space of big 2.4 29er tyres with a good shoulder, should offer a nice amount of grip, but really open tread pattern. They're calling it for light, fast-rolling, cross-country, trail. I guess it could be a really fun front tyre on XC bike, or on a kind of more capable trail bike, maybe on the back. Good to see another big, high-volume 2.4 tyre. Another tyre from WTB, or Wilderness Trail Bikes, is a very storied model. This is the Nano. It was one of the first tyres that really sort of took off in 29. Now it's taken off in gravel again. It's been available in a 40, and it's now available in a, well, I think they're saying this is a 52, which is almost 2.1. Very classic tread pattern, centre rolling section, lots of nice lugs on the side, a really fast rolling classic XC tyre. Great to see it in a gravel format. Super cool machine here. Maybe not for everybody, but definitely for shops. Why and what is it? This is from Sinter, and this is a brake bedding in machine. So you can put your front wheel in, or your back wheel, of course, and then it gives you a cycle to run through to bed in brakes. You can run the brake lever and, well, just get the brake pads up to temperature, get the disc and the pad all paired. We've done a whole dedicated video on why it's really important. It's a free, high-performance upgrade that everybody should be doing. And this machine helps bike shops make that process much, much easier. Brilliant stuff. Wow, that was packed, wasn't it? That was busy, and there's still more to get. So maybe we'll do sort of some extra stuff in a tech show in the future. I know what my favourites are. I know what the trends I've seen, and I think I know. But you let me know, what are your favourites? What do you think are the key trends here? And are you excited about these new businesses coming into mountain biking? I definitely am, but let me know in the comments down below.